So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Good morning. Welcome to the 25th Annual MLK Unity Breakfast being held at the Zion Baptist Church Multipurpose Center in Reidsville, North Carolina. My name is Diane Sawyer, President of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of our Board of Directors, we are honored to host this year's event in partnership with the Rockingham County branch of the NAACP and the Reidsville Human Relations Commission. We have continued to face challenges past the pandemic, and we thank you for joining us via Facebook, YouTube, public access channels, and other forms of media outlets. Also, thank you to those who are here with us in the audience. Thank you to Rockingham Update, who has continued to support us and to help bring this event to you. We are grateful to our hosts and our guests on the dais, and look forward to hearing from our guest speaker, Merald Holloway. The three groups work very closely to host this breakfast, and along with our sponsors, we are able to provide scholarships to Rockingham Community College students for local high school students. Please join me in welcoming Pastor Gregory Heading to the podium for the invocation.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Would you bow your heads with me in a word of prayer? God, we thank you today for the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. We ask you, Lord, to help us to be worthy of his legacy, to remember his spirit of love and justice. We thank you for bringing city and agencies and this organization of the NAACP together to have this breakfast. We pray, Lord, for that spirit that keeps us understanding that we're better when we're together, we're stronger when we're together. I pray that you would bless our speaker. I pray for the president of this organization. I pray for every agency of our city. And I pray, Lord, that what happens here today will inspire all of us to be better. Help us to understand that each of us have a responsibility to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, to make our community a better place to live. We invite your presence and your power as we move forward in this experience. I pray this in your mighty name. Amen and amen.
Thank you, Pastor Heading, both for the prayer and the beautiful words, but also for hosting us here. We are so excited that this is the 25th annual. What a very special occasion. 25 years of celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. We are so proud to be a part of it. Next, we will have the Pledge of Allegiance presented by the Reidsville Honor Guard, and then the Star Spangled Banner will be played. Everybody will please stand. to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will be greeted by our Mayor, Donald Gorham, from the City of Reidsville.
I'm Mayor Donald L. Gorham, and I bring you greetings on behalf of the City of Reidsville. We want to welcome each of you to the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Unity Breakfast, being brought to you virtually this year. As the City of Reidsville celebrates its sesquicentennial year in 2023, we can look back with pride on the strides our city has made. We believe that Dr. King would be glad to see not only the diversity, but also our dedication to Reidsville and its citizens. Dr. King advocated that we all commit to a life of service, making a better life for all. Let's do Dr. King proud and make 2023 our year to serve, to share, and to shine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we will have a musical selection by Miss Deborah Purcell.
be where you are. I gotta be where you are. I wanna be where you are. There's peace where you are. There's joy where you are. And there's love where you are. For your glory, I would do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King. For your glory, I would do anything just to see you, to behold you as my King. I wanna be where you are. I gotta be where you are.
At this time, I would like to introduce our guest speaker. Merald Holloway is a native North Carolinian, born in Reidsville, North Carolina, and is a 1992 graduate of Reidsville High School, with formal education from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Go Tar Heels. American Studies and Communications was his major, and he's currently residing in Raleigh, North Carolina. He is both the founder and executive director of NC 100, a nonprofit focused on mapping and identifying opportunities for collaboration and change in Rockingham County. Merald also lends his time and expertise to serve his home county as treasurer and executive board member for the Rockingham County Partnership for Children, as well as the board of directors for the Good Stewards of Rockingham. He is also very passionate and a dedicated advocate for economic empowerment and social justice within several North Carolina communities and business sectors. In the Triangle area, he also serves as a program manager with MDC Rural Forward, working collaboratively with the Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, providing program-wide guidance and identifying opportunities for community collaboration, as well as developing technical assistance methods for the Healthy Places NC initiative. As a champion of economic development and as an advocate of worker and purchasing cooperatives, he currently serves as chairman for the North Carolina Employee Ownership Center. Since 2011, Merald has served on the Durham Technical Community College's Business Administration Advisory Council committee in several capacities. In 2018, he became the regional expansion partner for the Community Purchasing Alliance in Washington, D.C., and in 2020, Merald was named to the 2020 to 2022 cohort for the William C. Friday Fellowship for Human Relations. In addition to prioritizing place equity considerations, class members were evaluated and selected based on curiosity, creativity, connectivity, and courage as North Carolina leaders and learners. The work that motivates him is a faithfulness to a mission to amplify local voice, create spaces where decision-maker solutions are more inclusive of local experience, and building stronger networks for local leaders. Please welcome Merald Holloway.
Greetings. Thank you, Diane, for that wonderful introduction that I wrote. A lot of stuff on there. It is truly an honor and a luxury to be here. I appreciate all the folks that are joining us on the pixelated screens, the folks who are in front of us. Appreciations for the remarks from our mayor. Mayor Gorham was my 5th grade teacher. I'll talk a little bit more about that, and wanted to make sure that you knew that he was an intern in those times. So I think he was maybe 17 or something, so it wasn't that long ago. But I appreciate the opportunity to be here and appreciate the NAACP, have a wonderful opportunity to work with the NAACP in several capacities, and really appreciate the time to be able to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of many folks in this room and the people who are watching to unite for justice, to unite for understanding, unite for healing, unite for fellowship and service to each other. I will warn you and let everyone know I am not a trained speaker and orator. I'm not a kind of a more behind the scenes type of person, but I was really excited and I appreciate the chance to be able to speak with you for a few minutes. And I'm going to set a timer to make sure I don't go too far. My plan today is to do a little bit of calling in, a little bit of centering, a little bit of reflection of what Dr. King's legacy has meant to me over time. But I do want folks to realize that the things that I share are things that are from my perspective. I am blessed and honored to have people who have shared many different perspectives within the margins across the Rockingham County and other places, but I'm speaking for myself and my lived experience and not representing any group of folks in particular. I'm an advocate at heart. So who am I? Just to, Diane gave a little bit of my background, but I want to give a little bit more context about how proud I am to be from Reidsville, North Carolina. Folks who aren't from Rockingham County who meet me, that's one of the top things that they know. They know Merald's from Reidsville. They know he's from Rockingham County. When I stepped on the campus at UNC Chapel Hill, I had my Reidsville Letterman jacket on. When I talk about the football and I talk about all the really wonderful things about Rockingham County, people know that about me. In my office at the Reidsville Area Foundation, where our NC 100 office is, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as it relates to Dr. King, in that office is a really deep connection to my roots here in Reidsville. My parents were really big advocates and proponents of being in diverse spaces and being in good experiences that from people who didn't look like me, or just to be able to kind of be in different spaces. And so I joined the Boy Scout troop at St. Thomas Episcopal Church. I remember that very vividly. Folks who may be familiar with that church, it was Troop 738. It was a very diverse group. Thomas Ham was my scout leader. I remember one of the other folks that was very instrumental and supported my work was a man named Bill Post, and we called him Fat Man. And I remember a lot of the lessons that he shared with me there. My dad is from Yanceyville, from Caswell County, but he met my mother at Rockingham Community College a long time ago. And my mom is a native Reidsville, Rockingham County person. She grew up on Branch Street, where my aunt lives there now, Aunt Anne-Marie Simmons. My aunt, Mosella McDonald, was a Rockingham County educator that a lot of people may know from the years past. And I am the founder and executive director of NC 100. The introduction talked a little bit about what that organization is, but at its core, it started, unbeknownst to me, really with some of the things that I picked up from kind of understanding the legacy of Dr. King, having a connection to being an organizer, leveraging, youth energy, supporting folks getting engaged civically. What we do at NC 100 is it started out as a group of folks from Rockingham County who no longer live in Rockingham County like myself, that wanted to figure out a way to pour back into the community. We grew up here and we saw, when we were growing up, it was a lot easier to kind of get along. Folks were, working in the textile mills, or folks were, going to go, pull tobacco. And you didn't have to have our systems support folks in equitable ways all the time. And as the economy changed, there needed to be a little bit more of a refocus, and we wanted to focus on young people. The two goals of the organization is to support young people in between the age of 12 and 22, which we find is a very important stretch of 10 years, where we want to support them in their career aspirations and their civic engagement, so they can be career ready. We specifically say career ready because there are so many different ways to success, and we don't want to limit it to just post-secondary. The other piece of the work that I think is connected to some of the thoughts that I've had about how Dr. King's legacy has influenced me is having access to all of the tools that you need to either create wealth or protect wealth. And it's not just resources, it's not just money, it's not just a home, it's relationships, it's togetherness, it's all those things. So now a little bit more about some of the things that shaped where I am today and how Dr. King influenced me without me knowing it. I mentioned my aunt, Mozella McDonald. She bought me this book, and it was, I don't know if people are familiar with the old Family Circus kind of comic books. There were these little vignettes. They were like little comic books, and they're little separate stories. But she bought me this book. It was called Martin, and it was a young man who was an inner city kid in Chicago, and on the surface, some of the things that he was saying were innocent. He was making observations of how tough it was in Chicago and some of the disparities that he saw. And he was just wise beyond years, and I believe that's why his name was Martin. I vividly remember the first time that I saw an image of Dr. King, which is really interesting, is at church. In a lot of communities, in the church that I went to and a lot of other churches that have folks that look like me, Martin Luther King Jr. is on the fan. You know, there's that famous church fan that people have, and I thought, who's this guy? It's got to be pretty important that he's in the church and so connected to our spirit. Martin Luther King represented the best of what humans and thinkers could be. I think that he had a unique ability to discern the positions that create, to discern the interests that create positions that people take. It was really fascinating to me, and I knew that I didn't want to be him necessarily, but I wanted to be like him. I was very fortunate to be in spaces where I got to see people in leadership that looked like me. I made a reference to Mayor Gorham being a teacher of mine, and that meant a lot to me to see somebody look like me in an authority situation. And I was blessed to be able to see more folks like that. I remember another relative of mine was Dr. Freeman Jones, who was an educator here in Rockingham County. I went to an all-black preschool that was run by a woman named Lovey Watt, who had a lot of imagery and talked a lot about history. And of course, my parents. I came of age, I'm a Generation X kid. It was kind of sobering me to say. I was just thinking about, somebody asked me how old I was, and I'll be 50 next year. And it's sobering, but I come to this community, and I've come back to do this work at a time, a very important time. I was born and raised in an age that is post-civil rights, but close enough to it to be able to have direct communication and conversations about how those things impacted people in our community. And then I was able to see really good examples of people working together. I do believe that we live in constant tension between two ideals, as Dr. King did, the world as it is and the world as it should be. And I think it is incumbent, and I guess I'm speaking for myself, but I do think it's incumbent for people who are in service to think about what you can do to agitate movement, to disrupt where you can, to be able to have conversations, to be able to disagree peacefully, and find shared interest in community to where you can move forward and not backward. I think that is really important. And I think there is a distinct correlation between poverty and race to the social determinants that impact health outcomes, and I think it's really important to continue to lift those things up, and I will continue to do so. I think it's also important to, as Dr. King did, think a lot about civic engagement in the way, if you were to think about 3 concentric circles together, one circle is people, the other circle is groups, and the last circle are systems. And if I have worked and talked to students all across the state about which circle has the most power, and it depends on where you're looking. If you get enough people that have access to their agency, they can create groups that have impacted systems. And I think that's the work that Dr. King was able to do. A little bit more before I close, to talk a little bit more about ways that, and observations that I had for the the legacy of Dr. King is I will never forget the optimism that he showed in times where you wouldn't expect it. On April 3rd, 1968, the day before he was assassinated, he was speaking to sanitation workers on strike in Memphis, and he said this, "But I know somehow that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." And I thought that was really poignant. It's saying that in the darkest times, there's light to be shown, and you should be looking for the light in darkness. And that really resonated with me. Togetherness was really big. It wasn't just a good idea. It was an essential way of working to deliver the results that he was committed to. His genius was putting that belief into practice. The other thing that I think that I would want to share about Dr. King that I still take to this day is this lesson of being able to discern those interests that create people's positions and trying to be in other people's shoes. I think about what it must be like to be in a space where people don't look like you. If you take the time to think about, have you been able to generally live your life with enough money or not enough money? Do you feel safe to make your voice heard and speak out about things that don't work for you within your community and society? Do you think about living more than survival, or more about survival than just living? Do people that are in our audience and watching on the screens, are you expected to succeed by your immediate community? Are you expected to succeed by authority figures? Can you show affection to your partner openly without fear? Have you experienced instances of violence or abuse within your family? Do you have access to power? Do people question if you are from the United States? I continue to ask these questions and put myself in people's shoes when there are folks that are within the margins. Another thing that I'll share about Dr. King that I thought was that I wanted to share with you today, and without doing a big history lesson, is that you didn't have to ask we don't have to guess what Dr. King was thinking about topic A, topic B, topic C. So in 1967, at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he rededicated the work he was doing to achieving economic justice for the poor. It wasn't just economic justice for people who identified and racialized as Black Americans or people who racialized as any other racial minority. It was for all people. And it didn't surprise him when that idealistic approach was not as revered as the message of just peace and togetherness. I think it was a lot bigger. One of the things that I talk to our students about with the civil rights movement that I think one of the things I would love to have a conversation with Dr. King is, I think the lesson for the civil rights movement that I take and I really have a lot of value for is, to me, I don't think that it was about integrating into another society. I think inherently, if you are trying to integrate into another society, then you can inadvertently create one society that is superior to another. And what Dr. King was really trying to do was let municipalities and people across the nation let you know that you can't restrict my movement arbitrarily. And so what we saw is that people, instead of achieving and trying to move to other spaces, they were saying, if I choose to be in another space, I could be in that space. And that really led to some really great organizing. The last thing that I will share with you, and there's so many things I could share with you to talk about Dr. King, but one of the things that I would leave with you are 4 or 5 things that I would love for me to continue to work on. And like I said, I am really working hard on trying to investigate those positions and interests. That thing I was talking about, if somebody gives me a position and they have a hot take about how they feel about something, my natural inclination is to step back if I don't agree. I'm trying to lean into discomfort, which I think Dr. King did a great job of. He did not set low expectations for people from particular groups. There was an excellence that was demanded and expected. I want to continue to expect and demand excellence in every situation I am in, and I wanted to be able to define excellence in many different ways. I want to find out ways to support folks so we don't have to deny the experience of people by questioning the credibility and validity of their stories. I don't think that is part of Dr. King's dream, and I think that was something that we should aspire to. I also believe that Dr. King believed, and I believe truly, that good is a point of view, and it really refers to who's telling the story. Taking a beat to wonder what is a person's individual story. The last thing that I will share, well, two more things. The first thing is that disparities do exist. They do. Health disparities, income disparities, but they need not persist. They do exist, but they need not persist. There's clear data in education, criminal justice, finance, and health, and our numbers show this. But we're not numbers. We're individual people with our own individual lived experience, and we can have impact in all the spaces that we're in. And then the last thing that I'll leave you with is that we should give each other grace to make mistakes. I do not know what it is like to be a woman if somebody is having a conversation about reproductive rights. I don't know what it is like to not be black and have that experience. I don't know what that's like. So I'm going to make mistakes, and there are things that I've been socialized to think and feel, and I have to work very hard. And just like the rest of us, those of you who are watching, the folks in this room, if you have an opportunity to have impact over groups of people, do not let those biases impact decisions that could impact large groups of people. So have grace and spread Dr. King's message of love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Merald. I think that was very insightful and very on point with us celebrating 25 years of unity and these groups working together in Reidsville. Thank you for everything you do for our community. At this time, we will have our Community Unity Awards presentation. First will be the Human Relations Commission with the Reverend Eddie C. Hughes Memorial Award, followed by the Rockingham branch of the NAACP with the J. Arthur Griggs Civil Rights Memorial Award, and last, the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce for the James W. Daniel Memorial Unity Award.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anna Roach from the Human Relations Commission, and I'm here to present the Eddie Hughes Memorial Award. And this award is being presented to a person who we have chosen, is Elder Catherine Totten Wilson. Elder Catherine Totten Wilson actually was chosen because of her activism with the city of Reidsville, the citizens of Reidsville. She was on the appearance committee, the ABC board. She was profound in helping with senior citizens, the soup kitchen, as well as she was a founding member of the Old School Block Party. And even during the pandemic, she managed with the Block Party committee to succeed in putting a mural up, which is put on part of Market Street, which is also named MLK. So I just think it's profound at this time that we do this presentation to her. We're going to do it posthumously due to her leaving us a little early. We're going to ask that her daughter, April Totten Jeffries, please come forward to receive this award on behalf of the Human Relations Committee and the MLK Committee. April, we present this to you posthumously for your mother, who was profound in a lot of things here in Reidsville. Some of the impact that your mother has made in Reidsville will never in life be forgotten by younger people, older people, and this community. And we thank you for lending her to us. And we thank your family for being here today to receive this.
August 28, 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. We can all recite some of the most famous lines of his speech, but what happens if we truly took the time to read the speech in its entirety? While I'm here to accept the award on behalf of the late Elder Catherine Wilson, I come to remind us of a less quoted excerpt from that popular speech that Dr. King delivered over 50 plus years ago. In his speech, Dr. King is quoted as, "It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summer of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until there is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro need to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But there is some that I must say to my people who stand on the warm thresholds which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrong deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our own personal thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness or hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new malignancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to distrust of all white people, for many of our white brothers have evidenced by their presence here today have come to realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And they have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone, and as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot look back. Now let me fast forward his speech 60 years later to my community. We cannot expect national, state, or county change until our community makes a change. While it's fatal for my community to continue to overlook our own urgency of a movement, we must start to honor and respect our own. The mural on the block was just a portion of our history. I must ask the question, what if Elder Catherine would have been given this award just 12 months ago? It took 12 years to bring a vision forward that benefited a whole community, but it took her demise to be honored. Dr. King had a dream, but we as an African American community have an even bigger duty to fulfill that dream. We overcome so much, but seem to have forgotten the struggle that got us here. We tend to overlook those who have a long-standing tradition or deeply rooted history in our community, but quick to recognize those that come to make a quick fix difference. There are descendants in our communities whose ancestors blood, sweat, and tears make the block an historic district. Those individuals deserve recognition for their ancestors' part in our city. Dr. King also stated, the marvelous militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to distrust all white people, for many of our white brothers are evidenced by their presence here today have come to realize that the destiny is tied up with our destiny. I want to say thank you to the Block Mural Committee that stood with my mom and made the mural possible. She laid the foundation with a committee for us to continue to grow our history, to share and embrace our history. The committee is present and the work cannot stop. We all must take an active part to ensure our history is not erased. We cannot continue to wait till January to recognize those who make a difference. Give a person their flowers while they're here. As I take my seat, I challenge each of you to take an active part in your community, not just in the four walls of comfort. Change requires effort, and it's not always comfortable. If we've learned anything from the late great Elder Catherine Wilson is, we can make a difference. We just need perseverance, and we need each other. On behalf of my grandmother, who is 95 years old and due to health reasons cannot be here today, my family and the Rebirth Outreach Christian Ministries, and the late great Elder Catherine Wilson. Thank you for recognizing her and her efforts in our community. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Linda Bass, retired administrator for Rockingham County Schools, and I serve as the treasurer 2023 for the Rockingham County NAACP. The James Arthur Griggs Civil Rights Memorial Award. This award is given to a person for their accomplishments in the area of civil rights within our community. This year's recipient is actively involved and devoted to the cause of civil rights established by the previous recipients. This award is given by the Rockingham County Branch NAACP, whose mission statement is to ensure political, educational, social, economical equalities for all people, and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination. Mr. James Arthur Griggs was president of our branch for 14 years, between 1958 and 1972. I am privileged and honored to present this award to this year's recipient, Darlene Smallwood. Would you come forward, please? This plaque reads, James Arthur Griggs Civil Rights Memorial Award presented to Darlene Smallwood for her accomplishments in the area of keeping Dr. King's dream alive in Reidsville. Presented this 16th day of January 2023 by the Rockingham County Branch NAACP. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. My great-grandfather was a great civil rights leader in Henry County, Virginia, and I take note to follow in his footsteps and want to continue on with racial inequalities, helping anyone that I can help in Rockingham County and surrounding areas, and I really am appreciative of this award, and once again, thank you.
My name is Jessie Metter. I'm an Assistant Director of Operations and Community Outreach at Cone Health, and I'm also the Chairman of the Board for the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. And so awarding this award today is really such an honor for me as we award the Clara F. Gunn Community Care Center and the Care Connect teams for their work in unifying our community. So these ladies are embedded in the New Reidsville Housing Authority, and the comment about loving your neighbors as yourself, that's what these ladies do. That's what this talented team of caregivers do. And in addition to that, they are throughout the community. So if there's a place where there are people in need, these folks are there. They're working on their whole spiritual care, their mind, their body, and housing, food, and their medical care. So it's really a whole person kind of care that they give, and we're really proud of the work that they do in our community. So the James W. Daniel Memorial Unity Award is proudly presented to this wonderful team of folks up here. Thank y'all for what you do. This just reads, the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce presents the James W. Daniel Memorial Unity Award to the Clara F. Gunn and Care Connect teams for their dedicated community service to the citizens of Reidsville. Thank you.
We are all honored to be here, to be a part of this award, and of the healthcare professionals of Rockingham County and the community, and that the community we were able to come to the community to bring health care when health care was lacking for the unserved, the underserved, and the underprivileged. We thought outside the box and were able to impact lives in a positive way. I am so impressed with the commitment of the Reidsville community to support each other and being a change agent. We're honored that we're a part of this journey. Thank you.
Now we will have the Julius J. Gwyn Memorial Youth Awards presentation by WANDA HARLEY.
Hello, I'm WANDA HARLEY with the Reidsville Human Relations Commission. Every year we have an award for young people from Reidsville High School. We recognize them with the Julius J. Gwyn Memorial Youth Award. And the reason we've chosen Julius J. Gwyn is because he was a former mayor of Reidsville. And not only was he a former mayor, he was also an advocate for civil rights and an advocate for the young people. So every year we choose 2 students who are high achievers from Reidsville High School to receive the award. The students could not be available today. However, we will make the award to them, and they are the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce, Reidsville Human Relations Commission, and Rockingham County Branch NAACP presents the Julius J. Gwyn Memorial Youth Award to Shelley Fuquay for her dedicated community service to the citizens of Reidsville, and also to Cross Harrison. And we thank them for their excellence in the community involvement and service.
We would like to say congratulations to all of our award recipients. Thank you for keeping Dr. King's dream alive through unity. Now we will have the Unity Song presented by the Reidsville High School Choral Group, directed by Gwendolyn Bell, also composed by Jennifer Watlington.
My child is your child, your child is mine. If we work together, a solution we'll find. Children learn hatred from those that they love. Let's make sure our teachings come from above.
At this time, we would like to thank all of our sponsors.
Go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream.
I would like to thank all of our participants for contributing to the program today. Monday, January 16th will be a day of service and remembrance. There are multiple activities happening this day. We will display them for you now. At this time, we will have the benediction from Pastor Gregory Heading.
This has been a wonderful and inspiring experience. My soul rejoices in what I have heard and learned, and I know I speak for the Zion Baptist Church family when I say we have been honored to host this wonderful event. You have been sitting for a while, so may I ask you to stand for the benediction. And now may the good Lord bless and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen and amen.